Hey everyone, this is Dave Cohen on Guitar Tales, and this is Bo. Say hi, Bo.
Hey, Bo.
Hey.
Hey,
Bo's being a dick today because he won't let me
Uh-oh.
do the show. He's an asshole, but I love him.
All right.
So this is a really historic show. This is our first ever. I'm putting him down now. Oh, get down, get down. There we go. This is our first ever sponsored show. And on the bottom of the screen, if it's formatted when it records the same way I'm looking at it now, we have Chuck Wilson, who is the owner and founder of the coolest guitar company ever, Bootlegger Guitar.
Woo!
Look how gorgeous this thing is. Let me get the headstock in there. It is just an absolutely stunning guitar. And after I bought this guitar, I became really friendly with Chuck. We have each other's cell phones. We've chatted a handful of times. And we've been talking for quite a while, ever since I bought this guitar, of setting up a show exactly like this. And yeah, it's so great. And Bootlegger was kind enough to sponsor this show. So, Chuck, welcome to the show.
thank you, buddy. Welcome.
And I see you have we're going to take a deep dive into all the guitars, how you started the company. And then to my left on the screen, at least as it looks to me right now, we have an artist endorser, Marvin Sheats. So, Chuck, you are in Hermosa, California, right?
Hermosa Beach, California.
Beautiful. And then Marvin, you're in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes, sir.
Detroit Rock
Motown.
City.
Motown.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for joining us too.
Thank you for having me.
So there's so much to cover tonight. But Chuck, let's start with you because you're a guitar player. We could see that because you're playing a guitar right now. But you have such a crazy career. Don't you race cars?
Yes, I have performance value racing.
So you got this history. I think you do commercial real estate.
Yeah, real
And,
estate.
and at some point, I guess you got bitten by the bug and you decided to create a guitar company from the ground up. Give us a little bit of the background on that.
Well, let's see. I'm 65, so I started back in the era of the Beatles and the Stones, right?
All right, so I got to cut you off because immediately Marvin and I have an issue with you. Because
Yeah.
if you look at this,
Yeah, I was about to say.
all right, and look at Marvin.
Has the shine on top of his head there.
This is
Right.
bullshit. You're a 65-year-old man. Show us your crown. Let's look at your crown.
I got it, buddy.
All right, that's an asshole. You could be a
Oh,
donut.
real, man.
Yeah, that is
I have
not
no
fair.
idea.
All right,
A lot
go
of
on.
time-
I'm sorry.
A lot of time in the surf, I think.
All right, so
I picked up guitar, like a lot of us as kids wanting to meet chicks, right? I mean, play guitar and the girls will love you. But then you find out that's not the case, but still you like playing guitar, right?
right.
And I did use the word love. I'm trying to be an adult here on this show, but basically I was looking to score. Right. So anyway, yeah, I've always played guitar my whole life. And basically, I opened a recording studio in Los Angeles, and I was working with a lot of artists. I do gig, except for COVID. I have different blues bands, and I've toured or done shows with Iron Butterfly. So I have been paid to play guitar, even though that surprises me sometimes. But yeah, basically being a NAM member, which is the National Association of Music Merchants, I go to the NAM shows, meet a lot of people, and I started selling a few different brands out of my recording studio.
Okay.
And it's just kind of my nature, to like think, that this is cool, and I think, I could get into this. So I just started making connections and thinking about how I might break into the music guitar world and amp world, because I was not going to make it as a rock and roll star, or a blues performer anywhere so big. So I just started making connections and designing guitars, and I had no idea where it would go.
So a funny thing in my chats with you, if you told me I forgot, but I didn't realize you also designed the guitars, and I'm seeing such a great not metamorphosis, an evolution of your guitar. So mine, I think, is what is this? First of all, I forgot, what is my model right here?
Called the Hounder. That's the Gen 1 Hounder, and just a classic body style, like reminiscent from something like from the 50s, like a Supra or K type guitar that I would have seen for sale at Sears. It's an elongated body, and that design came from my love of Hound Dog Taylor's playing.
Okay.
the six-fingered blues man. If you ever get a chance to listen to Hound Dog, and he called his guitar the Hounder.
There you go. And you know, one of the things, and again, I'm losing a little bit of my video signal when I hold it up, but there we go. The finish is just stunning. The workmanship is fantastic. And the design of the headstock, and I noticed the camera's catching it a little slower because we're on Zoom, but the head, wait, let me get it right there. There we go. It's a beautiful headstock. The reason it's shaking is because it's being bit by a dog, literally. So that's the shaking. It's not me. There's a dog biting it. But it's such a beautiful guitar. It's playable. And you made a decision, which I loved. You put some P90 pickups on there. What was your thinking behind that?
Oh, I love P90s. I think they're underrated.
Yeah.
Everybody, for some reason, I mean, humbuckers are fine, and there's great humbuckers and there's boring humbuckers. Some are vanilla and some, have a good tone. But P90s, they're great pickups.
Yeah, and it's funny because you look at so many old wonderful guitars, and only because of your guitar, it's like when you're car shopping, and let's say you're in the market for a Chevy. You notice every Chevy on the road. So now, everywhere I would go, I would start really noticing guitars with P90s. I'd be in a bar and I'd say, and it's not that I didn't know they existed, but now I own two P90s on this guitar. Yeah. And you've really done a nice job, I think, in going from this, which is a very traditional old school guitar, and you've built many in that genre. And I'm looking right now, and you've got one of those cool, you've got the Headless Guitar, and I think Marvin's got one too, right? Is that what you have there?
Yeah, this is the Spade.
Yeah, hey Marvin, we're Spade brothers.
There you go.
Yeah,
I got the honey right next to the wall.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get my hands onto some of those newer ones. But I like what you're doing here, and it really harkens back to what we saw as Kramer, as an example, went from the 70s to the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. They had this sort of the very different the aluminum split neck, right, which was a very different kind of guitar. Right. And then they connect with the late Eddie Van Halen, and they moved into sort of more modern guitars with tremendous success. Became the number one. I think they were number one in the world. And you're doing something, but with your own flavor, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
Well, yeah, thank you. I dig vintage guitars, but I also dig modern guitars. So I just dig guitars. So yeah, right. I started doing really vintage-esque styles, like bringing back styles. I mean, I don't want to build another Strat or, SG or, I mean, it's just pointless to me to do copy guitars.
Right.
Plenty of people doing that. So even going back to my racing, I designed parts and cars, styles and different things. And, I wasn't copying anybody. And to this day, we build race cars, custom race cars in my shop in Florida. So I'm more of a mindset to be aggressive and take older styles and rejuvenate them, or design new modern styles. And if they flop, they flop. Fortunately, they haven't. But I'm not really worried about making the next glazed donut.
Right. That's a great metaphor there.
It doesn't turn me on. It just doesn't really interest me.
Well, it's funny because I think the people professionally who have the most success are those who aren't seeking success so much as being authentic to their way. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, on this show, we spent 5 minutes prepping because I don't believe in prepping, at least for something like this. I want it to be organic. Right. And we are what we are, and we're not what we're not. And that's what Bootlegger is. But when I got this guitar, I've owned, I think I once counted maybe 30, 35 guitars in my guitar playing life. And this is my favorite. Thank you. Yeah. It's just from the style to the craftsmanship and the originality of it.
Awesome.
I'll take, part of that credit, but I work with really good engineers. So it's one thing to take a pencil and draw something out.
Right.
This is my idea. I have a great relationship with Mr. Ken Kim in Muse Inc. in South Korea, who I met at NAMM.
Right.
And he's got wonderful engineers. So he takes my ideas and designs and turns them into something that's a musical instrument.
That's
not engineers. I mean, I'm not an engineer.
Right. But that's okay. You're the idea guy.
Yeah, I can count the frets. I know the basics. But basically, I'm drawing something, and he's saying, "Yeah, I see what you're drawing. Here's how we can make it work."
Right. Or he might say to you, "You know what you're drawing won't work."
Oh, that's happened many times.
I'm sure, yeah, and that's cool.
Late night sketch, send it over. He's like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Right, and that's good, and you want
an LA guy. I'm not building that.
Right, and you want someone who's going to have the balls to say to you, "That ain't going to work." You don't want a yes man.
Oh no, no. We're now in business together, pretty much. I mean,
that's great.
I had to fund builds. Now I'm not as much funding up front as he's building with me, and we're like a partnership in this. So it's wonderful.
That's great. And let me say,
yeah.
What's that?
It's a great factory. I mean, I was building amps and such in China, and I stopped doing that. Now everything is built out of the South Korean factory for many reasons.
That's great. Yeah, and we're gonna in a bit I want to talk about your amps because I've been watching on social media. You guys are doing some really nice stuff there. Let me switch to you, Marvin. So let me ask you this. First, I want to ask how you connected with Chuck, and let's get a little bit of your musical journey.
Well, I started playing guitar back in high school, and had a band, Inner Spirit Project, and time goes on. And I got into headless guitars.
Okay.
A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, awesome guitar player here in Detroit, Torrance Carey. We had went to my cousin's get together, and he said, "Bring your guitars, bring your guitars." I said, "Okay, we're gonna have a jam session, right?"
Right.
And so Torrance brought his, and it was a Steinberger.
Right. That's what
Yeah, headless guitar. I'm like, what is this? And everybody else had headstocks on their guitars. He was only different. He was the only one that was a little bit different.
Right.
Said,
was it a bass or was it a guitar?
It was a guitar.
Because the bass is what made it popular, the Steinberger first, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. They came out with the basses, and then the guitars were made and everybody started gravitating to the guitars. And so I played it. I said, "Oh my God, I love this thing, man. Can I have it?" He said, "No, you can't have it."
Can I have it?
He wouldn't let me have it, but he let me play it,
Wait, Chuck, can Marvin and I each have all those guitars that are on your wall? They look kind of pretty.
I know that's right.
Well, Bootlegger has a price for everything, so we can talk.
So you fall in love with the Headless Steinberger, which is an incredibly iconic guitar.
Absolutely. And then I started a page on Facebook called Headless Guitar Society, where everybody who has a headless guitar can go to that site and see other headless guitars. And so I said, I want another headless guitar because I had like 2 of them, right? And so I said, I'm looking for something different. Okay. And so I ran across Bootlegger. I'm like, oh my God, this is something different. And I love the body style. I needed something small because I have a lower back problem. My L5 is ruptured.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I needed something that wasn't heavy.
Yeah.
Something that was ergonomic, and this was it. I said it's different.
I'm seeing the way you're holding it. That looks like it weighs nothing. Unless you're incredibly powerful, you might be really powerful.
Well, I am powerful, but no. This is really light. It's a really light guitar, and that's what I love about it. Because I have this one, and I have.
Look at that! Oh man, that's my style right there. That is. I mean, I love them both, but I love the two-tone of the sort of the off-white. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So both of them, it's the same weight, And so I just fell in love with it. And so I was able to call Chuck and say, hey man, I love your guitars, and what you're doing is a little bit different than what other people are doing,
He walks his own path.
Exactly. He walks his own path. And that's what attracted me to, him and his guitars and stuff, So we talked for Chuck, I think for an hour.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, we talked for like an hour, man. And then we met actually.
Nam you met or before that?
No, actually I couldn't make it to NAMM. But
Did I say it wrong? Did I say it wrong on my show? I said nom.
no, that's okay. That's
Oh, I
okay.
almost went there too.
But no, we met actually. My wife and I, we were going on a vacation,
Okay.
and just happened to be in California. I said, "Well, Chuck, can we hook up some kind of way, man?" He said, "Yeah, let's make it happen." You know, and so we met in California and we talked some more. You know, we went out to lunch, and my wife and myself, you know, we went to lunch and we had a good time, man, and we talked about the future and and listening to him in terms of what he wanted to do with the company and what his vision was for the company was awesome.
Oh,
I mean,
that's great.
I don't want to make $1 million, you know, I don't, it'd be nice if I could, but he said, I just want to make good guitars, you know, and I respect that, man.
Yeah, it's that's to me, it's the formula for success that sometimes does and sometimes doesn't overlap with monetary, but it's not about that.
It's
You
not
know?
about that. So yeah, and so from the Headless guitars, I said, I need another guitar. I need a more a jazzy guitar, you know,
Right.
arch top or you know like a hollow body. And so that's when I got.
Oh,
I love this guitar.
oh my, that's like an ES-ish, but it's nicer looking.
Man, this guitar, and see what I love about this guitar. I always love guitars that had a separate volume and tone control.
Yes. Look, oh, that is gorgeous. Give us like a Vanna White. Show, like, do your hand and like show us the. Let's see the back of it. That is beautiful.
Okay.
Oh, that's really stunning. And you've got the white trim that I've got on mine,
Right.
which is really sharp.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And another thing that I really liked about this guitar, or I love about this guitar, is that the pickup selector is right here.
Yeah.
Where it's reachable. It's not at the top.
No, it's better. And you know, the funny thing is on Fenders, they put one of their volume pots right here. So on the few Fenders I've owned over the years, I've gotten rid of it because when I play, my pinky would hit it.
Right.
You get nice clearance on the bootleggers, so you don't have that issue. But it's very convenient. When I was, in case I had to play today, I practiced a bit, and I was playing with my toggle on here, and I was appreciative of how easy it was in terms of access.
Absolutely.
So you've got two humbuckers on that guitar, right?
Yeah, 2 humbuckers. Yep. And
That's a classic sound guitar.
What's that?
That's a classic, like a jazz style.
Yeah.
You know, so you definitely want the 2 humbuckers.
How is it? Let me see how thick the body is on that.
Oh man.
That's a nice. That's
so thin.
It's nice. It's skinny.
Yes, it's skinny and it's light. I mean, I can hold this thing, like I said, with my bad back, I can hold this thing and be comfortable and play in a comfortable position, standing or sitting. So I'm excited about it, man. You know.
Oh, that's a beautiful guitar.
It really is.
And you know, the thing is, what really grabbed me, and I've already showcased my bootlegger guitar in a few Guitar Tales episodes.
Okay.
I actually just had it on stage a few times when we were in the studio.
Right.
But when there is that homage to the old style guitars, it's done right.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
So let's talk about your musical journey. What style do you play? What are your interests? Who are your heroes? That kind of stuff.
Well, because being here in Detroit, you know, I started out with the Motown thing and Temptations and Aretha Franklin, and then I kind of got into rock, got heavy into rock. Jimi Hendrix, that was my idol. Jimi Hendrix, Ernie Isley, all the rock cats, you know, and started doing that. Started a band again, In a Spirit Project, or back then it was In a Spirit, but then we started doing rock. Everybody else was doing rhythm and blues and
right.
stuff like that. But we got into rock and really was doing Deep Purple and Rush, you know, those groups. Then we gravitated toward fusion, jazz rock, Tony
King
Williams,
Crimson kind of stuff.
You got it, King Crimson, and Alan Holdsworth. One of my favorite guitar players, late Alan Holdsworth. You know, started getting into real complicated and complex modes and scales and things like that. And so like my band now, we do a little bit of everything. We do, because every member of the band has their own kind of genre, right? You know, and so we incorporate all of that. So I'm more of a fusion, jazz, rock cat. I'm still trying to learn my jazz. Jazz ain't easy.
No, yeah, sure not.
but I'm still trying to learn my jazz and stuff like that. But we kind of encompass a lot of different types of genres of music: jazz, rock, fusion, Christian. We play in church, and we just kind of cover a lot of basics here. Trying to work on our CD. I'm building a home studio. In the process of doing that, that's kind of where, let me see, where am I? Over here, back over here somewhere. But anyway, it's over here. It's going to be in my living room. So I'm building a home studio, and we're going to start recording our CD and stuff like that and get it out.
Now, I'm going to give you one more sort of line of questions, and we're going to toggle back to Chuck a little bit. I'm asking all of the artists we have on the show, and I found a lot of similarities. It's like doing a focus group. How has COVID been with regard to your artistic sensibilities?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on Marvin for a second. Marvin?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to answer part of that because I'm so jealous watching all of your COVID jams. I don't know what you got going out there, but it's not happening out here.
I know, man. I know. A friend of mine, my keyboardist, he wanted to, because of COVID, he wanted to do something on his porch, like a jazz thing where he invites.
Man, it's awesome.
Where he invites people over, everybody socially distanced, everybody had their mask on and stuff like that.
I've watched a few. They're cool.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man.
And so, we wanted to do that. But I mean, being home, and being home, I'm able to really sit down and really focus on playing and really getting, what I want to do out, And it's a shame that we can't go and socialize like we want to, like we used to. But it still just gives me chance to kind of go inside myself and see, what do I want to do? What type of music do I want to do? We got to get our CD out. Because I don't want to be a downer. I don't want to be but Chuck knows this, but I don't want to be a downer in this respect. But I lost my wife in March.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I stopped playing guitar. I stopped playing guitar for a while, and that was the first thing my wife said. She said, look, you got to get your CD out. Don't ever stop playing. But just me.
Yeah, you got to deal with that. That's hard.
Deal with that. I'm still going through it, but talking with Chuck and getting, talking with the guys and doing stuff, building my studio and stuff, that helps. It's cathartic for me.
I mean, you could, you can use your art to process
exactly
like that. Yeah,
absolutely,
that's hard though.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. That's what we're doing, and that's helping me out a lot, So I'm just trying to make it happen.
Do you feel like, has COVID and the isolation that it creates? There's the negatives, which is we're all in varying degrees isolated.
Right.
But has there been any benefit to your artistic sensibilities that you've gotten from that?
Yeah, it allows me to be able to study more and think.
Okay. Yeah.
Process a lot of things, learn things that I didn't know before, where I'm always ripping and running, going here and there. Now, since, we're kind of at home, I can kind of like just sit back and study a little bit and learn more and listen to more guitar players, listen to more musicians, and pretty much kind of, see what they're doing.
Right.
I can utilize that. And it's just studying more, praying more, I'm praying more, and that's a blessing, but it's just I'm you, like I said, you want to get out and perform because that's what musicians do. That's what we do.
Right.
But because of this, we have to kind of take a step back and kind of go within ourselves and see what we can do, and benefit from it.
Right. And I feel like, there will come a time, we don't know when, and, a year from now, maybe, whatever, when life begins to look a little more like it used to, and maybe we, on some level, come back a little stronger.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And you might come out of this a better guitar player / artist.
It'd be a good thing. It'll be a good thing,
Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
No, I would say it'd be a good thing, and I just want to be able to perform in front of people and have people like it, and appreciate, what we do as bands and what have you.
I could already tell why you and Chuck do so well together, because you guys are both true to your respective callings, and
Absolutely.
It's really nice. And Chuck, let me go back to you now. Unless I'm interrupting your jam.
That's what I just do all the time, man. I have a hard time not fiddling on a guitar.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I'm not masturbating under the desk right now, just so you guys know. You know,
Right. Right.
I was going to, but then that whole thing with Tobin came out, and I thought I better not, just in case.
Borat.
Um, but all kidding aside, so how is COVID, if at all, impacting upon your business?
People tell me that the guitar business is booming. You know, like the big companies. I get the calls all the time. Oh man, you must be selling 1,000 guitars a week, because all I read about is how hot the guitar business is. And
Right.
the answer for Bootlegger is, I would say that we're a little bit busier than normal.
Okay.
Nothing to complain about. I've never really look at sales as a factor of success. So if I'm shipping like 5 or 6 guitars a week, that's pretty cool. If I'm talking to 10 or 20, new people that never knew about Bootlegger a week, that's kind of how I gauge it. Because I do take direct calls. My phone number's on the website and stuff, so guys can call me.
I felt special until you just said that.
What's that?
I felt special until you just said that.
Oh yeah. Well, I do have your number on my cell phone storage. So.
All right, I feel better.
And I got Marvin's too. And by the way, Marvin's a great friend. Marvin's not just an artist. I met him through Bootlegger, but
Right.
Marvin's a special guy. He's a friend.
Oh, thank you.
I'm getting that vibe.
Marvin's very, very talented in a lot of different directions, and his wife is.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
Yeah, I hear your music, so I'm jealous. I would say it's kind of funny because the spade here that I'm holding is not designed as a travel guitar, but it's very popular as a travel guitar.
I would think, yeah.
So here I am sitting on a classic travel guitar. No one's traveling.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 8 or 9 inches shorter than, say, this one, right?
Easily, and it's like 6 pounds max, and so if you want to take it on a flight, it's tremendous.
Right.
But I love it just because I can just sit back and jam on it with horrible posture. Any classical instructor would hate me.
Right.
But, you can just kick back with it and just.
It looks very comfortable.
Let me say something too. Real quick.
Yeah.
When I got the guitar, okay, I'm expecting, this cheap gig bag, that they send it in and, you unbox it and you got this cheap.
Oh yeah.
Man, this guitar came in a case.
Nice.
A case, large enough to fit the guitar.
But smaller than a normal case, I guess.
Yeah, right. I mean, a serious case, a very protective case. But now we have gig bags that if, it's an option that people want a gig bag for their spade, they can get that. But I was impressed. And when we had, and also too, I know you want to get back to
No, it's cool.
Real quick. I also have here, I do the guitar photo shoot every year for all the guitar players here in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
And I took my guitar, I took my Bootlegger, and they saw the case. They said, "Oh my God, I've never seen a case." Usually I'm looking at gig bags, right? But I've never seen a case for a headless guitar. I say, it's Bootlegger, baby.
Oh, that's great. Well, here's one thing that's sort of occurring to me, and I'm pulling it from what Chuck just said. Mm-hmm. So we've got this great boutique company that is only focused on the love of the instrument. That sells 5, 6, 7 a month or a week or what have you. So what's really cool is that we've got a pretty good viewership here on Guitar Tales. So if someone wants to get a really, really unique guitar, and mine was dumb luck. I didn't buy it from you. I bought it from Facebook Marketplace, and it was pretty funny. There was a guy about my age, and he said he's in trouble with his wife. He has about 15 too many guitars, and she made him unload some. So, and it was so funny. It was like a drug deal with a nerd because I
got the wrong wife.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Speaking to a divorced guy, but so I met him in a parking lot to do my guitar deal.
Oh.
By a Starbucks. But I fell in love with the look of it when I saw a picture. I'm like, holy shit, that's a gorgeous guitar. So that's how I happened upon it. So I got lucky and I got this beautiful guitar. But if someone is interested in Bootlegger, and I'm gonna, you know, we don't have fancy graphics unless we're in the studio, and this is not a studio show, so we're going to talk about how to find Bootlegger. But what's really cool is that if someone's interested in Bootlegger, first of all, from a financial point of view, these are reachable guitars. But you can have a guitar that is really unique and crafted in a loving way.
Absolutely.
You know, and I jam with some guys in Princeton, New Jersey, and when I show up with this guitar, like, what the hell is that? Like, they're intrigued by it because it's different, it's interesting, and it sounds and plays great. So I think it's really neat, and that little number you shared with me was telling, because in a good way, in that, you know, you could walk, and there's nothing wrong with Guitar Center, it's great, but you could walk into Guitar Center and you could buy a guitar that, you know, 40,000 of your closest friends also own.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could buy a guitar that, you know, not that many people own, but it's really lovingly crafted. That's the thing. Like, I like stuff. You know, like we spent a lot of time on Guitar Tales talking about stuff. And I love to look at the way the neck connects to the body and the workmanship. And these guitars are lovingly crafted. And I think that's really cool. And you know, one thing you didn't hear Chuck talk about is how much money he wants to make, because that's not what's driving him.
Right.
Well, my wife's not hearing this, so that's.
You better not let,
I can agree with that.
unless she sees the show. Right.
Yeah, she'd be like, "What do you mean you're doing all this work for, you know?"
So,
Well, you know, the reality of it is, and I appreciate the kind words, but the reality is, you're buying it for me. I am Bootlegger Guitar, and do I really want to deal with unsatisfied people?
mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so people buy my guitars, they become my friends. I got friends around the world.
Mhm.
I got a guy right now in Switzerland.
Okay.
One of these two. I don't know how it happened, because I play the guitar before I ship it, but somehow the neck got cracked.
Okay.
Here in Switzerland.
Wow.
So the cost of shipping it back here is prohibitive. So I'm talking to his tech, you know, and together we're going to get the guitar fixed. You know, I'm going to lose a ton, but I got a really happy guy in Switzerland.
Right.
Right.
You know, so that's all it isn't, if you're building a business, it's about a lot of people who are like, hey man, Bootlegger's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the other thing is, like the Guitar Center story, I hosted blues jams for years. Like I said, I owned a recording studio. I'm a gigging guitar player. There are some guys that will only play something that makes them feel like they got, like ACD would say, big balls.
Right. Right.
They're not playing a Strat or a Les Paul, and I'm not knocking those guitars.
Right.
Then they don't feel that, and I have a Les Paul signed to me by Les Paul guitar. I'm not knocking it, but they feel like if they're not playing that, then they're lacking, or you know, they can't get up on stage and play the blues or rock.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bootleggers.
Right.
You know, the guys that buy my guitars realize that, man, they're getting something uniquely different that could be theirs, and they have to have the confidence in themselves to say, I can make this my own.
Right. But,
Absolutely.
by the way, I just got a text from Marvin. He wanted to know if you would give him the Les Paul signed guitar.
Ah! Wait a minute.
Oh, go get it. Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look
at
at it.
belly right now. There you go. Oh, look at that.
Oh, nice.
So that's not a recent one, is it?
No, very old.
Yeah, that looks really old.
There's a whole story to this. I got it from my recording studio connections.
Oh man.
I'm looking at the heads for the pots, and those look like old plastic on there.
Oh, it's a piece of crap guitar. I hate to say that. It's an Epiphone. It's not a
okay.
quality guitar.
Oh, okay.
But it's Les signed it to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Marvin just texted me. He doesn't want a piece of that guitar anymore. It's right here.
I apologize to all the Eps and lovers out there.
Yeah.
The guitar is not in good condition, but it's in my museum, and it was signed by Les.
Signed by Les Paul.
I got a picture.
No, that's huge.
Okay.
Did you guys ever see that commercial he did that was all over the internet?
Huh.
It's like some young guy's playing guitar, and then he says, "Hey, let me try it out." No one knows who he is, and then he plays a few really great licks, and then someone says, "Hey, that's Les Paul," or he's playing a Les Paul. Did you see that?
I haven't seen that one.
It's
I
YouTube worthy. Like it's a good. I'll try to. I'll send it. I have your emails. I'll send it to you guys. But it's like a great little TV spot where the younger guys don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
You know, like you ever play a Les Paul, and then they find out at the end of the commercial he is Les Paul.
He is Les Paul. Wow,
that's pretty
now,
cool.
have you guys seen Eddie Van Halen's tribute to Les Paul? He's playing in front of Les Paul. Check that out.
Oh,
Eddie Van Halen, I guess Eddie Van Halen Les Paul tribute or something.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's
oh
pretty
man,
cool.
On a sideline to Eddie Van Halen, he's a phenomenal guitar player. They say one of the greatest. I'm not doubting that at all. Not necessarily my taste in guitar playing, but he's a wicked guitar player.
Right.
He was a better musician than he was a guitar player. He was like underutilized.
Yeah, he was a good keyboard. He was a great keyboard player.
He was classically
That's
trained.
True. That's true.
Keyboard player. It's like, it's almost a shame. It's like Jimi Hendrix was going into jazz.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we lost Jimmy. I mean, how
29.
how amazing would have that been?
Oh, that would have been
Wes
crazy.
Montgomery was a big Wes Montgomery fan.
That's there's a bunch of people we could sort of speculate as to what they would have become.
Oh, man.
If they hadn't passed. We lost.
If Eddie got into like writing performing classical guitar music on electric, that would have been.
Hey, so let me ask you guys this. So our publicist, Scott Guitarist Engel, just put something on social media. When we did a show with him, he was talking about whether or not cover bands should play Eruption. So let's take our little poll. Scott just posted. We're recording today on. I have to look at my computer. It's October 22nd, 2020. So today's the day Scott posted it. Let me start with you, Marvin. Should cover bands play Eruption?
In tribute to Eddie, I would say yes, but make sure you practice and you have everything down, the notes, the tapping, everything down before you introduce it to the audience.
That makes sense. All right. Yeah, and I won't give I posted my little response. So, Chuck, what's your feeling? Do bands play Eruption? Should they play Eruption, I should say?
Oh, that's sure, yes, but as it was just said by Marvin, it's something that you have to pay homage to, because it's not like a blues song that can be played many different ways.
Right.
You have to play it
the right way.
The way they play.
Ain't kidding.
But this is my guitar.
Oh, look at that.
I know.
If you're going to play Eruption, then you need this guitar.
That is gorgeous. Look at.
Hold on, let me wipe my mouth here. I love that guitar too.
Gotta have the pros here. The double locking tuners. I did not design this guitar. I'm not going to take credit for it. It was I co-designed it.
But you know what shocked me in a good way about the guitar? There was a reveal you did not intend. So I'm looking at that body style and I'm expecting a 6-in-line headstock.
No, this is the new.
And I got a 3-on-3, which was really cool because it's different.
Well, there's a story also to that, because the headstock that you have, I had polite complaints from other builders I won't name that said that headstock was too close to theirs.
Really?
Oh.
I had to come up with something that would be uniquely bootlegger to avoid what's happening with a lot of lawsuits these days.
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
So I went to a 3x3, which works on all my vintage guitars.
Yeah.
Then when Steve Stein and Reno Paulson and I designed this guitar, I said, well, we can't put an Ibanez-esque head on it. We can't put something that, PRS type head on it.
Yeah.
So I just said, what do you think about just going with the new, 3x3? And, it's guys are digging it.
Let's look at the show us the ass of your guitar. Turn it around, flip it. Very nice. That's really funny because I'm looking at myself in the reflection, which
Yeah,
makes it less attractive.
Right.
yeah, it's blue flame. We have it coming out now in a red flame, which is next to demonic. I mean, it looks really badass.
Yeah,
Then we have one coming out in a natural wood.
that would be my taste.
Yeah, with all of the beautiful grain work and
You
such.
have permission to FedEx me, you know.
Yeah. We'll
There you
talk.
go.
So yeah, so this, we're talking about contemporary type style of music.
Yeah, look at
Bootleg
that.
now
I
does-
like that. You know what I like too? I like how far apart the machine heads are. That's a cool look to it.
Mhm.
Cool.
So, one of my favorite things about Guitar Tales, because we're just a bunch of folks chatting about guitar, time flies. I'm looking at my computer now. We're 46 minutes in,
See,
and
that flies when you're having
Oh.
fun.
thanks to this, it
Yeah.
flies. But so before we wrap up,
Yeah.
how do we find? First of all, Marvin, let's talk to you first. How do we find you and your great music?
Well, my website is the band's website is Inner Spirit Project.
Inner, INNER.
Yes, and then Project, PROJECT.com.
Okay, innerproject.com.
InnerSpiritProject.com.
Inner Spirit Project. Okay.
I'm sorry. And then I'm on Facebook. I mean, you can always look me up on Facebook, Marvin Sheats.
I saw that. Right.
Yeah, SHEATS. And then the band is on Facebook as well.
Good.
So yeah, we're all
All
over
right,
the place.
perfect. And what we'll do is, just so you guys both know, is we're going to set up a Facebook watch event for this episode, and we'll make sure you guys through Facebook are connected to it. What we do is we actually have people live watching sort of a replay of what we just taped here.
Okay.
And again, we edited out. No, I'm kidding. We didn't edit anything. So, in a bootlegger guitar, I already know the answer, but just give us a few places where people can find out about bootlegger, and if they're interested in taking a look at your product, how do they find it?
Yeah, well, we're bootleggerguitar.com or just
Okay.
Google bootlegger guitar. You're not going to find us in stores and such. We're just too small. And every time I've looked at distributorship or getting into stores, it just becomes too expensive for buyers.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, I just sell direct,
Yeah.
and
Beautiful.
if there's any issue,
Prices
I
are great.
keep it back.
Yeah,
It's-
prices are great.
And I think I found you on Facebook. That's how you and I connected, right?
yeah,
Beautiful.
I do. Yeah, I'm great on social media.
Perfect. And look, I want to thank both of you guys for coming. And Chuck, in terms of, it's an historic event for our little show here, and that this is our first ever sponsored show. So we want to thank Bootlegger Guitar for supporting Guitar Tales.
Cool, brother.
All right.
Pleasure.
And Marvin, thank you too. This has been a really fun
Marvin.
show. Time
It has been.
flew. It absolutely flew here. I'm going to hit the end record button. We'll keep chatting, but no one will know what we talk about after I hit end record. All right. So have a good night, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone.